Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking standard business theory and totally flipping it on its head. We're going to treat everyday products just like living, breathing organisms. We interact with hundreds of things every single day, right? From the coffee in your mug to the software running on your computer. But we rarely stop to think about the fascinating journey these items take, going from just a mere idea in someone's head to a massive global phenomenon and eventually to their inevitable end. So let's unpack this entire biological arc.
Before we really get going, just look around your room for a second. You're probably surrounded by items you use all the time. But ask yourself, what actually separates the stuff that survives for decades from the things that just disappear overnight? Like, why is a specific brand of sneakers still incredibly popular after 30 years, but that flashy new gadget you bought last year is already totally obsolete and forgotten? Well, the answers lie in the fundamental rules of product development and marketing.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. We're looking at the core marketing mix, categorizing products, the development process, branding and packaging, and finally, the product life cycle. Let's jump in.
Section 1. The core marketing mix. This right here is the product's DNA.
You've probably heard of this before. The marketing mix is made up of 4 P's: product, price, place, and promotion. It basically covers everything from design to distribution. But here's the thing. The product itself is the absolute core. Because, honestly, research shows that if a product doesn't solve a real customer need, no amount of clever pricing or heavy advertising is going to save it. At the end of the day, the product just has to work.
And there's a golden rule here. All 4 of those elements absolutely must fit together. They have to tell the exact same story. Imagine, for a second, pouring a luxurious, high-end perfume into a flimsy, cheap plastic bottle and then sticking it in the discount aisle of a grocery store. It's a complete disaster, right? The premium price totally contradicts the cheap presentation. Everything has to be perfectly aligned for a product to actually thrive.
Moving on to Section 2. Categorizing products. Because, obviously, not all products are created equal, and they definitely aren't sold to the same people. Products generally get split into 4 main categories, based on who's actually buying them and how they're being used. First, we have consumer goods, which are physical items like food or your living room furniture. Then consumer services, like getting a haircut or paying for education. On the flip side, we have producer goods. Think of massive factory machinery. And producer services, like commercial accounting for a big firm. Figuring out exactly which category your product falls into is crucial because it dictates your entire marketing strategy. But hey, regardless of the category, every successful product shares a few core traits. It has to fulfill a real need, offer reliable quality, and keep costs reasonable so the business actually turns a profit. Plus, having a unique selling point, being the first to move in a new market, or being innovative enough to stimulate a brand new want in the consumer's mind, those are massive indicators that a product is going to survive and thrive.
All right, Section 3, the development process. Let's look at how all of this builds into the actual creation or birth of a product.
Bringing a new product into the world is complicated. Businesses have to carefully guide their prototypes through 6 highly structured stages of development and testing. It really doesn't just happen overnight. It takes intense brainstorming, expensive market research through surveys and focus groups, designing prototypes, testing them rigorously, and finally, gearing up for an official launch. It's an exhaustive, meticulous journey, but it's designed to weed out the bad ideas long before they ever reach the public.
This birth phase is incredibly high risk, but also high reward. On one hand, a successful launch gives you a massive advantage over your rivals, letting you diversify and expand into entirely new markets. But on the other hand, the cost can be staggering. Between the expensive market research, the wasted materials from all those failed prototypes, and the ultimate risk of a public flop, the stakes are huge. If a product launches and it's faulty, it can do catastrophic damage to the brand's entire image.
Which brings us to Section 4, branding and packaging. This is where we give our product its personality and wardrobe to stand out on those incredibly crowded retail shelves.
At the very center of all this is your unique selling point or USP. This is it. This is the ultimate reason a customer chooses you over the other guy. Without a solid USP, a product is really just a generic commodity, destined to be totally forgotten in the noise of the market.
And when you establish that strong identity, you build something incredibly valuable: brand loyalty. This is when consumers just keep coming back, buying the same brand over and over instead of switching to a competitor. A strong brand image gives people a sense of assured, reliable quality. It makes them feel confident. It essentially transforms casual, one-time buyers into lifelong vocal advocates for your product.
Because of this intense loyalty, brands provide immense added value. It's exactly why companies like Apple can charge premium prices simply because of the prestigious identity attached to their devices. I mean, the Apple brand name alone is worth billions of dollars. When you buy from them, you aren't just paying for circuits and glass, You're paying for status, personality, and that guaranteed experience that the brand provides.
So how does the product physically present that brand to you? Through its packaging. Packaging is so critical that it's often called the fifth P of the marketing mix. It basically has two vital jobs. First, functional protection and usability. It has to keep the product safe from breaking or spoiling and be easy to use. Think of a shampoo bottle that pours perfectly. Second, it acts as this eye-catching silent salesperson on the shelf. It uses bright colors, shows off vital info, reinforces that premium brand image, and can even feature special discount offers right there on the box.
Finally, Section 5, the product life cycle. Because just like living things, products simply don't last forever.
This curve right here is a fundamental concept in business. It maps a product's journey from invention all the way to obsolescence. And the arc of sales volume pretty much always follows this same pattern. It starts slow, rises to a massive peak, plateaus, and then drops. Literally every single product you own is somewhere on this exact curve right now.
Let's break it down. A product travels through 6 distinct phases. Phase 1 is development, zero sales, heavy costs. Phase 2 is introduction, slow growth usually driven by heavy advertising. Then comes the explosion of Phase 3, growth, where the profits really start rolling in. By Phase 4, maturity, sales start to slow down a bit, but profits actually hit their absolute peak. Which leads us to Phase 5, saturation. The market is totally full, prices get cut, and profits fall. And finally, Phase 6, decline. The product falls out of fashion and the life cycle ends.
But wait, a business doesn't have to just sit back and watch its product pass away. When a product hits that saturation phase, companies can deploy specific extension strategies. Think of it like life support to boost sales and maintain profitability. They might launch a new flavor of an existing snack. They can export it to entirely new geographical markets. They might release the next generation of a smartphone, or they could just refresh the packaging, run some brand new ads, or sell it through new online outlets. These strategies effectively reset the clock and extend the product's profitable life.
So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Look at the items around you today. Pick up a product you bought recently. Look closely at its packaging. Think about its branding, and figure out its unique selling point. And then ask yourself, where exactly is it on the curve? Are you holding a product in its booming growth phase, or are you witnessing its final, inevitable decline? Understanding this biological arc completely changes the way you look at everything you buy. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.